Hi, beautiful ones, and welcome to this 6 universal month Cosmic Numerology forecast class and live stream for the month of May 2026. So I'm starting a little bit later than scheduled today. I have had some technical hoops to jump through. This is also the first time that I am using StreamYard through my phone, so things will look a little different for those of you that are joining live and tuning in live. Hi to everyone who's watching the recording, the replay. I hope you are all happy and well. I am just starting to kind of familiarize myself with StreamYard through my phone. It's a little bit different, but and I'm really hoping that my internet connection is going to hold up and everything's going to be great there connectivity wise. But whilst we are waiting for those of you that are joining the live, I'm just going to share this in a few places online so that people can see that I'm live. And for those of you that are joining on the live, please feel free to say hello. Please feel free to tap into the comments. Let me know how you're going. Let me know how you're feeling. So let me just share. Whoops. It normally takes about 10 minutes or so for people to join the live. So if you are watching on the recording, feel free to just kind of skip past or skip forward 5 or 10 minutes, and that's when the class will officially start. But I am just gonna share this in a few places online. It's just starting to rain again here. Oh my goodness, we've had 2 weeks of kind of pretty non-stop sunshine and showers here in the Byron Shire of Australia. Very fitting for the back end of April, which is a five universal month. And the 5 being associated with water. Let me just share this. And also very interesting weekend from a pagan Wheel of the Year perspective, because for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, it is Samhain. And for those of us in the Southern Hemisphere, it's Samhain. Those of you that are in the Northern Hemisphere, it is Beltane. So I'll be speaking about that and mentioning that and referring to that in this class. I'll also be sharing about the key themes of the 6 for this 6 universal month of May 2026 within the context of this one universal year of 2026. We've also just had the full moon, and it was right on the cusp, so like kind of right on the cusp, technically based on true lifetime sky it was in Libra, but right on the cusp of Virgo, which is very interesting because my sun is kind of Libra but on the cusp of Virgo based on 13 star sign astrology. And yeah, it's definitely an interesting time for sure. That is for sure. Yeah, I think that's all the places. I don't know. Everything's so complicated these days. It used to be a lot quicker and easier to put things in places online and on Facebook. And again, I'm not 100% sure what's going on with either my internet connection or my Chromebook, but everything just feels quite slow, and that's okay. Because here in the Southern Hemisphere, we're moving into this yin place. You know, as we move into autumn and towards winter, and that this time of year is very much about slowing down. Whereas those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, you're moving more into the yang part of the year. Seasonally, you're moving into spring and towards summer. So I'm just going to share this in the event that I created for this transmission. Here we go. I'll just share it in a couple of other groups. So I've put it in all the places and spaces where people might want to find it. Let's see. It's a little bit tricky to move between devices as well. I don't know how many of you are watching that have online businesses or that you use Facebook on a laptop or a smartphone or an iPhone, but everything's in different places. Gosh, I'm trying to find groups. Where are groups? Oh my goodness. And I don't know about you, but like things get moved around a lot. I think they're always testing, yeah, the most optimal places to put things. So let's see. Just posting it in the Cosmic Numerology family group as well. Post. There we go. Done. So here we go. Done. So I think that's all the places and spaces. I'm just going to test the live chat as well. See how it pops up, or if it pops up. Okay. Oh, there we go. There's Patricia. Hi, Patricia. Lovely to see you. So I'm going to close my laptop. Oh, there we go. I'm just trying to... Hey, lovely. Yeah, so this is the first time that I've used... that I have used... what was I going to say? StreamYard on my iPhone. It's working so far. So, as you can probably tell, I'm a little discombobulated at the moment. And for me, this is very reflective of and connected to the 5 energies. And the 5 energies, that have been playing out, numerologically speaking, throughout the month of April, and are still playing out numerologically, and will be playing out until the middle of May, because those energies and themes are going to be overlapping with the month of May for the first 2 weeks, even though May is officially a 6 universal month. So I am completely discombobulated, and there's quite a lot going on in my kind of thoughts and mind and body, um, and truth that I kind of wish to speak, which I feel I am going to speak once I've got the kind of intro shared. So wow, I've never ever felt like this at the beginning of a class before, and it's okay. I'm also living at a number 55 frequency here in Mullum at the moment, which I've never lived at a 55 before. I've lived at addresses that have fives. I've lived on a street that holds the 55, but I've never lived at an actual number 55. And even within this address, like the street that I'm living on holds a 6 frequency, which is interesting. And then Mullumbimby holds the 44. So yeah, the last transmission that I did, I was still in South Golden, and I was about to move, I think, in a few days. I moved on the 7th. I think my last transmission was the 3rd of April. And I've been here since the 7th of April. And yeah, it's definitely been testing me in many ways, like living in the center of Mullum, living in a shared house as a highly sensitive person, definitely been testing me in many ways. But let's do an official kind of intro and welcome now that we're kind of 10 minutes into the live. So hello, welcome to this 6 universal month Cosmic Numerology forecast and class for the month of May 2026. We know that May is a 6 universal month because it is the 5th month of a 1 universal year. And the way we calculate a universal month is we take the number of the month that we're in, we add it to the universal year. So 5 plus 1 is 6. So that makes May a 6 universal month. April was a 5 universal month. June will be a 7 universal month. So that's where we are. So in this class today, I'm going to be sharing information about the key themes of the 6. And how they'll be playing out within the context of the key themes of this 1 universal year. And also, you know, how to best kind of like flow and align with them. For those of you that are on the live, after about an hour or so, I'll open everything up and we can look at people's personal months, personal years that are on the live. I'm also just going to, well, acknowledge this full moon in kind of Libra Virgo that we're experiencing the energies of this weekend, and also the kind of Samhain Beltane portal that we're all experiencing as well, based on the pagan Wheel of the Year calendar. And I'll also just be acknowledging and mentioning a 10-day run of galactic activation portal days based on the dream spell, the Mayan dream spell, that's actually going to be starting tomorrow, quite interestingly. So yeah, kind of a jam-packed class and transmission, quite a lot to share. But yeah, I'm just, well, no, I'll do some acknowledgements and then maybe I'll just speak a few truths and we'll see how we go. So I always start my classes and my gatherings either in person or online with some acknowledgements. So yeah, sorry, I'm struggling to stay present, which is really strange because this has never happened to me before in a live, ever. So I'm going to stay present. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to start by paying my respects to, honoring and acknowledging the original Indigenous peoples, custodians, and elders of the land that I'm on and that we're all on, the current custodians and the emerging custodians. I would like to pay my respects to, honor, and acknowledge by name the numerological people and clans, also known as Oracle, the Nyangbal, the Durambal, the Minjambal, the Weeabal, Widjabal, and nearby the Githabal peoples and clans. I would like to pay my respects to, honor, and acknowledge our bloodline ancestors, for whom without which we literally wouldn't be here. And I would also like to pay my respects to, honor, and acknowledge our starseed ancestors and family, those that walk among us here on earth, inhabiting flesh suits, and those that are looking down upon us or through the dimensions, enjoying their cosmic popcorn, watching their version of Kosmic Netflix series Earth 2026. So that felt like an emotional acknowledgement as well. So curious. So yeah, I have never felt like this energetically or emotionally hosting a class or a transmission before. And before I get into the detail and the nuts and bolts of the class, I'm just going to share a few things personally about where I'm at and how I'm feeling, just to acknowledge them and just to kind of speak my truth on them. Yeah, before we fully get into the class. Otherwise, I think I'm just going to be, I'm going to struggle to stay present until I've shared all of that and kind of got it off my chest, so to speak. So I feel like this might be this might be the last monthly forecast online class I teach or host for a while, which feels weird to say because you know, I have been sharing lives or Facebook lives or Zoom classes or most recently YouTube lives, some form of transmission relating to cosmic numerology online for a long time. Ever since kind of the Facebook lives became available, which I think was around 2015. And it's really curious because I care deeply about numerology and cosmic numerology. It has played a massive role in my life for a long time, pretty much since my awakening at the end of 2012. And it has served a very important purpose, and it has given me a lot of help and support and clarity over the last 13 years. And it has provided me with a job. You know, I'm self-taught, but I have been giving readings and teaching cosmic numerology, Pythagorean numerology, pretty much since like the end of 2013 into 2014. So 12 years, nearly 12 years. But there's something that has been shifting and changing in my life and in my reality, especially this year, especially over the last few months. And I can't quite put my finger on it. If I could, I would probably be doing a better job of explaining and articulating what's going on, but there aren't really that many words for me to explain exactly what's happening. All I know is that it's 2026. I'm in a 5 personal year. We're collectively in a 1 universal year. There's one person watching this live right now, which I think is Patricia. If it is you, hello, thank you. There'll probably be a handful of people watching the recording or the replay. But as I'm sure for everyone on the planet, we're all going through some very big shifts and changes, and we have been for quite some time. And I'm not sure what's happening or what's going on with cosmic numerology, with me. All I know is that I feel like it's falling away. I don't know if it's falling away forever, but it feels like it's falling away at the moment. And I'm not someone to kind of push stuff uphill unnecessarily. And yeah, it's really strange. I don't even know what to say. I can't even really find the words to explain what is going on, but it feels like cosmic numerology is dissolving. For now, at least. And it might just be because my human self is in a discombobulated place. And when I'm more settled in my own personal life and where I'm living, things will be easier. But there are some things that are shifting for me, for sure. And again, I'm finding it hard to put my finger on it or explain what's happening. Numerologically, all I can do is put it down to the 5, because the 5 just brings about change, and it can dissolve structure or order or strong and solid foundations. And sometimes because everything's meant to get dissolved and changed, or sometimes because things are just meant to evolve or go through an evolution. I feel so emotional at the moment. I don't know why. It's very strange. I don't normally get this emotional in classes either. But the last month has been hard for me. I'm going to be honest. It's been very hard. And I'm sitting in a room in a shared house surrounded by boxes. And I get to move somewhere in a couple of weeks. But I'm still not going to unpack, because I can only be there for 3 months. And I'm doing everything I can to find and secure, a long-term home. And maybe this is why I'm emotional, because, the home is one of the themes of the 6. It's connected to the 6 frequency. But I'm kind of tired and exhausted of moving around. I've lived in the Byron Shire for the last 10 years. I've lived in Australia for 14 years. And I haven't really lived anywhere longer than about 6 months. And for about the first 8 years, I was moving every 3 months. And I'm tired. I'm tired of moving. I'm tired of not having a long-term home. But then again, saying that, I haven't really had that since I've been in Australia either. And I know that, there are so many reasons why things happen. And despite my best efforts of wanting to try and land and ground, that hasn't been the case. But it is my intention. And the same with my visa and, you know, becoming a permanent resident in Australia. That is still my intention. And I continue to hold that intention and move in the direction of it. But yeah, I'm kind of tired of keep moving around. And it took me 15 minutes to try and set everything up just so that I could host this class for 3 beautiful souls that are watching live. Hello, whoever you are, and whoever's watching the recording. And I wasn't going to give up, and I wasn't going to just go, oh, this is too hard or this is too difficult. But for some reason, the internet connection doesn't hold on my Chromebook, which is where I normally do my YouTube lives from. And I had to set everything up on my iPhone. And my iPhone is sitting in a tripod that is broken. And I couldn't start the live until I'd gone through 5 or 6 different boxes to try and find some blue tack so that I could prop and hack my tripod so that the tripod holds my smartphone still during this class and this transmission. And now, of course, you guys don't all necessarily need to hear or know this detail. Normally, I do not share this amount of detail about my personal life in classes. But I am today for some bizarre, inexplicable reason. And it is all very connected to the 5. The 5 can be a very ungrounding, unpredictable, discombobulated, chaotic frequency. And that has very much been my experience over the last month. And my 22-4 life path is not a fan of that. I don't have a 5 in my birth blueprint. I understand the 5. I acknowledge the 5. The 5 is important. The 5 brings lots of wonderful and amazing things. But I'm also kind of over it. I'm exhausted by it. The shadow of the 5. The chaos. The constant movement. The lack of stability. The lack of boundaries. The lack of focus. My 22-4 is not a massive fan of the 5, especially when the 4 is not fully anchored for me. And this is what I've said in classes before. If the 4 is not fully anchored, the 5 can be very destructive and ungrounding. And I'm doing my best to flow with it. I really am. You know, I'm in a 5 personal year. We've just had this 5 universal month in April. But I'm going to be honest, I'm over it. I'm beyond over it. I would just like some stability in my life. And I'm just going to be saying that out loud, publicly, for whoever's watching, paying attention, listening. I'm done with the instability. And I'm also not going to continue to struggle to show up and share these things or share my knowledge and wisdom in the face of adversity. when it's just continually difficult or challenging for me, and when it doesn't feel fun. Because I love numbers and I love numerology. And there's a part of me that doesn't want to let it go. But I feel like I'm potentially in the process of letting it go. Maybe not forever, but for now. Because for some reason right now, it just doesn't feel like it is what it was. And that's okay. You know, it was something that provided me with an income, and it doesn't anymore, and it isn't. And I really need to be focusing on channeling my energy in the direction of something that's bringing me an income. And whilst all of this knowledge and wisdom and information is amazing and it has helped me so much, and I hold it and I carry it around with me wherever I go, yeah, I'm just not so sure whether it's a good use of my time to be continuing to share this or make this available when it's not bringing me an income, and not bringing me an income that I can live off anymore. It has done for many, 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 many years. And I don't know why I'm saying all of this, and I don't know what all of this means. All I know is I'm in a 5 personal year, and the 5 is change, and the 5 is non-attachment, and the 5 is going with the flow, and the 5 is evolving. And I feel like cosmic numerology is falling away for me. And it has been for quite a few months. Not falling away from my personal life and how I use it and how I dance with it and how valuable it is to me, but I feel like it's falling away in terms of a profession or a service. Yeah. It just feels like too hard basket. It feels like maybe the energy's not there anymore. I don't know. I still have an intention to start hosting a weekly cosmic numerology study group and class locally. But again, only if people show up, only if people are interested. Yeah. Yeah, I was hosting kind of regular weekly cosmic numerology Zoom classes very successfully 2023, 2024, even up into last year. And then, yeah, things just started to fall away. Patricia, I agree that for about 3 years of self-employment, it's been interesting. So I acknowledge what you have gifted for many years. Thanks. Yeah, it's been a 12-year journey with cosmic numerology for me. And, you know, it's not for lack of people expressing their gratitude. You know, so many people have expressed their gratitude for what I share, especially that which I share for free. So many people have expressed their gratitude, but it's not paying the bills. It's not keeping a roof over my head anymore. And that's going to be a reflection of something that's happening. And the only conclusion that I can draw is it's because there's an evolution that's happening for me and with me, and there's another way that I'm to be earning money. And for many of you that know me and follow me on Facebook, you'll know that I've had this vision for creating and co-creating the House of Love in the Byron Shire, which is part of a global vision to create 13 houses of love across the planet, veganic haven and sanctuary for highly sensitive people, all based on sacred geometric blueprint, layout, architecture, sacred geometrically designed gardens, all the things, geodesic domes. And that is my visa pathway for here in Australia, either sponsoring myself through that business or through a national innovation visa. And recently I've had the idea to create an arm of that business for 3D printing hemp domes. I don't know what's going on with my throat, sorry. And yeah, cosmic numerology is not a box that can be ticked for a visa for Australia for me. So yeah, I'm having to pivot, and I'm having to channel my energy in the direction of a job, a profession, a path that can be acknowledged for a visa pathway. So I feel like maybe that's another reason why everything connecting to cosmic numerology is kind of dissolving for now, or online. And again, the 6 is associated with the home and community. We're in a 1 year. So maybe this is the month that I fully dedicate myself to, moving in that direction and fully committing to House of Love and whatever I need to do in order to make that happen and make that become a reality, because cosmic numerology by itself is not a pathway that is going to help me achieve my visa for Australia, my long-term visa anyway. So that's a little preamble. I don't normally tend to share stuff about my personal life these days in these transmissions or really online in that much detail. I used to share a lot, maybe too much, who knows. It all felt true at the time, especially when Facebook Live had just become a thing back in 2015, 10, 11 years ago. But anyway, I'll get on to the class now, which is why those of you that are watching live are really here. And again, everyone who's watching the recording, if you're still watching. Oh my goodness. Very curious times. Very, very, very curious times. And again, this one universal year, it's all about the new. It's all about the new. It's about new beginnings, initiation, starting things, birthing things. It's about sovereignty. It's about authenticity. It's about embodying our true authentic self, being who we came here to be, the most magnificent versions of ourselves possible. This is the beginning of a 9-year cycle. But the 9 energies of the 9 universal year last year are still overlapping. They are overlapping with the one for the first 6 months of this year. The 9 is going to be overlapping till the end of June. So there's still this letting go that's happening for all of us and for the planet, energetically, numerologically. I'm in it. I'm fully feeling it. I'm I'm letting go of a version of myself that I became or have been in the last 9 years. And it's not to say that I'm letting go of all of it, but I feel like I'm letting go of who I predominantly have been and how I have predominantly shown up, especially as a cosmic numerologist and a practitioner and a teacher, to actually create space for a new, more advanced, more expanded version of myself, which is going to be, the founder of the House of Love, a new business, I don't like using the word CEO, but whatever that role is, or whatever that role becomes, which is going to require far more advanced skills than I've needed to just be a cosmic numerologist or a teacher. And I feel like I have been honing and cultivating those skills and working on myself and going through initiations in the last 9 years, but actually throughout my whole life, to prepare myself for this next role. And it's a leadership role, and it's a way showing and a guiding role, and it's a conscious entrepreneurial role. And it will test me in ways that I've probably never been tested. And so many of us may be going through these initiations, these birthing canals. Even those of us that are conscious and awake and are aware, to birth into an even more sovereign and authentic version of ourselves. It's a very strange feeling. It's not a feeling that I have had, that I'm aware of in this lifetime. I was trying to explain what's going on and how I'm feeling to my business coach the other day. It's tricky to find the words to explain the feeling. And the place that I got to the other day when I was trying to explain to her was, like, I had my awakening at the end of 2012, and that was a massive expansion, so to speak, in remembrance that I am a soul. I'm an infinite, eternal soul, from source, made of source, having a limited or perceivably limited physical 3D human experience in a physical 3D human body here on Earth in physical 3D reality. But the last 14 years, 13 and a half years of my life, I've been in a very expanded place, in an expanded state at a soul level. And I've been having a very, very multidimensional experience, which has been very challenging for me because being in the other dimensions and being more connected to my more expanded self and state at a soul level has felt easier than surrendering to the heaviness and the density and the duality and the polarity of life on Earth. And in the last 4 or 5 years, I've been surrendering to being human and physical 3D reality. And what I feel I'm experiencing this year is another kind of rebirthing, not an awakening, but an even deeper surrendering to life on Earth and being human, but with a higher level of consciousness and a more expanded state of awareness as an adult than I've ever had before. And it's weird. And the only way I could describe it to my business coach the other day was it must be the feeling that we have when our soul has been very expansive, and then when it finally gets squished into this physical human body when we're being birthed, and we go from being this very, very kind of like expanded soul that isn't fully or hasn't fully committed to inhabiting a flesh suit. But when we are birthed, when our physical body is birthed and it gets birthed, you know, we travel through the birthing canal, or we find our way out of whatever beautiful woman has been 3D printing our flesh suit for 9 months, if that is indeed how our body has been created. That commitment that our soul makes to that body and physical 3D reality for however long we inhabit that flesh suit, that's kind of what I'm feeling at the moment. It's like another layer of surrender to physical 3D reality consciously, from having been in a very, very expanded state of awareness since my awakening at the end of 2012. And especially when, for a long time, a big chunk of that time, so probably about 8 years until about 2020, 2021, I was so connected with that expanded state. I wanted to be more in that expanded state than I wanted to be here on earth. And more in that expanded state than I wanted to be in my physical body. It felt easier, lighter than being in the density of a physical body and dealing with the dense, heavy feelings, energies, emotions, and the polarity of, you know, what it is to experience life on earth. And again, interestingly, we are in this one universal year, and we're in this 6 universal month now. So at a soul level, even though I'm 45, my soul has been inhabiting this body for 45 years. My human self is having this visceral feeling and experience to some extent of what it must feel like to go from, again, being in this expanded state at a soul before we commit to incarnating, and before we fully commit to incarnating into a physical 3D flesh suit and being born. And again, the 1 is a birth frequency. It's a new beginnings. It's a fresh start frequency. And the 6 is associated with the body. It's associated with pregnancy. It's associated with the home that is created within a woman's body, within her womb, where this flesh suit, our physical human body, is 3D printed over the course of 9 months, and is the place where our soul has the opportunity to live and inhabit. So again, this is this is not the normal structure for my classes or transmissions at all. But I'm going with it, and I'm going with the 5. So back to the formal structure of class and how things normally go. So what are some of the other themes of the 6? I think before I go into that, I'll just acknowledge this Samhain Beltane portal. I'm not going to go into too much detail. Officially, based from an astronomical perspective, the Samhain Beltane portal doesn't actually happen until the 5th, so Tuesday here in Australia. But either way, the Samhain Beltane portal is known to be when the veil is thin, especially Samhain. Here in the southern hemisphere, Samhain is the halfway point between the March equinox and the June solstice. It's the halfway point. So we're 6 weeks away from the June solstice, and that will be, you know, the height of winter for us, in inverted commas, in the southern hemisphere. The shortest day, when it is theoretically darkest, coldest, etc. And again, I can't believe we're only 6 weeks away from that. Conversely, in the northern hemisphere, Beltane is the opposite. So Beltane is the halfway point, obviously, again, between the March equinox and the June solstice, but it's the halfway point between kind of like, you know, spring and the height of summer. So, you know, Beltane is new beginnings, and again, birth and fertility and marriage. Lots of people, it's a wonderful time for hand fasting and things like that. I know that Glastonbury, it's, you know, Beltane is one of the biggest celebrations of the Wheel of the Year. It's a really, really big special time for the Beltane celebrations. And then down here in the southern hemisphere, it's Samhain. And so Samhain is more about death and endings and closure and the dead. You know, traditionally speaking, I'm not traditionally, sorry. You know, Halloween is associated with it, especially in the northern hemisphere, or as it's traditionally known, All Hallows Eve, which was the eve before All Hallows Day. But the bottom line, Samhain is about the dead, and it's about celebrating the dead, the celebration of the dead. There's a beautiful Disney film called Coco, which, you know, really shares, you know, a beautiful representation of the significance of the Day of the Dead for the Mexicans. I was actually born on the 2nd of November in the Northern Hemisphere in England. And that day is now currently referred to as the Day of the Dead. Quite curiously, I was due on the 31st, which would have been Halloween, but I was actually born on the 2nd of November. But again, because everything's flipped here, so November for us here in the Southern Hemisphere is our Beltane, it's spring, versus Samhain in the Northern Hemisphere. So I'm not going to share that much more about it, but for those of you that are watching in the Southern Hemisphere, it's a great time to honor the dead, the deceased, our ancestors. You know, one practice in the Northern Hemisphere is that on Samhain, you set a place, an additional place at the table for the deceased, for the ancestors, and you put a plate of food there and you welcome them to join you at your table, and you deliberately speak of the dead, and you honor and acknowledge the ancestors during that meal. And I actually got to do that Samhain 2019 when I was living with this beautiful mother and daughter just on the outskirts of Glastonbury. We carved pumpkins, and then I think they're Hungarian. They have Hungarian blood and heritage, but it was a really big thing in Hungary as well. So we set an extra plate at the table of food, and we spoke about our ancestors, and it was really beautiful. And this is the kind of thing, it's 11:11 right now. This is the kind of thing that we will do at the House of Love as well. We will celebrate the Wheel of the Year celebrations. There will be a well that we will dress in the same way that they do at the Chalice Well. We will have all these beautiful gatherings and celebrations of the pagan Wheel of the Year, but of course of original Indigenous cultural knowledge and wisdom and celebrations as well here in Australia, Bunjalung country. So coming back to the six, so the key themes of the six are connected to the loving caregiver. It's connected to family, children, the mother, father, the husband, wife, the home, domesticity, health and well-being, plants, herbs, how we can use plants to experience optimal health and well-being or to heal. The six is connected to community, ceremony, nurturing, nourishment, how we nurture and nourish our bodies, whether it's through food, whether it's through physical touch. It's a frequency associated with hugs, cuddles, and also massage, for example. A lot of my friends that hold sixes, they're masseuses, or they might be involved in the healing arts, or any kind of profession that is involved with or associated with healing. In the new earth, the six for me is more about creating a space for people to have a healing experience, or for them to feel more loved, more cared for, more welcome, more nurtured, more nourished, and a sense of belonging in a way that perhaps they haven't in their family of origin, for example. But it's a very, very loving, caring, nurturing frequency. It's associated with the temple as well. And, Solomon or Solomon's temple, very much associated with the physical body. And, the physical body is the temple in which we inhabit. And then it can also be associated with a physical temple that is outside of the body that we may visit for ceremonial purposes or for coming together in community. And, in terms of like the six within the context of a 1 year, because again, the one is about self, it's about individuality, it's about acknowledging our individuality and our separateness, so to speak, but also our connection to source, and the fact that we are ultimately all from source. We are all birthed from source. We are all made of source. What you're experiencing right now, what we're experiencing right now, is source speaking through me as a channel, so to speak, to you, and you are source through your physical human body and personality, bearing witness to me and hearing me speak about something that ultimately connects us back to and into source, which is also connected to the one. It's the frequency of oneness, wholeness, and origins. So yeah, the one and the six coming together can be connected to self-love, self-care, self-massage or self-touch, but also that connection to source and how we can connect to source through our bodies as well and through our hearts. There are lots of people that talk about and teach about heart coherence, like Dr. Joe Dispenza, for example, the Heart Math Institute. And for me, the heart is the portal from the soul and from our mortal physical 3D human body and self into source, and multidimensionally as well. And it can connect us into the hearts and souls of other beings here on earth or across time and space. So yeah, some of the other ways the 6 and the 1 could be playing out this month: the importance of prioritizing our health and well-being, how to experience and embody our sovereignty within our family, our community, the home, our marriage, for example. It could be how we embody and experience independence, leadership, way showing and guiding within our families, communities, the home, and marriage. It could be a great time for seeding new lines of time for your health, family, home, community, marriage, or your children. The 1 and the 6, when they come together, it can be associated with conception, the conception of a baby, the conception of life, the conception of ideas, or the inception of ideas connected to experience sovereign health and well-being. It can be a birthing frequency and the birthing of a physical body, or again, something connected to the themes of the 6. It could be associated with initiating or starting a family, or a new home, or new life, or a marriage. It could be associated with being initiated as a husband, wife, mother, father, uncle, aunt, brother, sister, grandmother, or grandfather for the first time. But yeah, those are some of the ways that the 6 and the 1 could be playing out this month. In terms of animals, so I associate the 6 with bears, especially from a kind of bear hug perspective. And even when you bring the 1 in, that's where you might have the polar bear, because I associate the 1 with the North Pole, not the North Pole, sorry. The poles, yeah, the North Pole and the South Pole, but Polaris, the North Star. And again, the 1, it even looks like a pole, for example. And even like Beltane, for example, people erect a pole or a phallus, and then they put ribbons around it, and then they dance around the maypole as well. So again, the polar bears are the bears that are white, that live in the colder climates closer to the poles. I'm not sure which pole that they live at, and definitely the North Pole. I'm not sure whether there are polar bears at the South Pole. But yeah, so that's just some animals that I associate with the 6, or the 6 and the 1. And then, how these 5 energies from April are going to be overlapping with the first 2 weeks of these 6 energies of May. So again, the 5 can be associated with change, transformation, the unexpected, the curveballs, flexibility, expansion, evolution, travel, adventure. So all of those themes are going to be overlapping with the themes of the 6 for the first 2 weeks of May, right the way through until like the 15th, 16th of May. So you might be experiencing changes, transformation, evolution, or travel adventure associated with your home, health, family, children, your parents, your role as a husband or a wife or a mother or a father or a family member, or within your community. And then when we get to the middle of May, the 7 energies of June are going to be overlapping. And, the 7 can be a very mental energy. It can be associated with the mind, our thoughts, quite mercurial. It can also be associated with the nervous system. So, there might be some things to be looking at in relation to like mental health and well-being, or the nervous system and nervous system health. It can be, the 7 can be associated with knowledge, wisdom, information. It can be associated with, what else can it be associated with? Science, philosophy, psychology, spirituality, the esoteric realm, metaphysics. It's why I've been on such a big journey with all of this in the last 14 years of my life. Since my awakening, I'm a 7 divine soul's purpose. So yeah, a huge part of my journey has been connected to metaphysics and spirituality and numerology and other metaphysical modalities. The 7 can be associated with culture, original indigenous culture, ancient knowledge and wisdom, the mystery, mysticism. It can be associated with questioning things, truth seeking, curious truth seeking. It can be associated with mythology, mythological beings, mythological stories, and it can be associated with wow, my brain, oh my goodness. It can be associated with the elemental realm, the elemental beings, the fairies, the pixies, the gnomes, the elves, and beyond. So those energies are going to be overlapping with the 6 for the last 2 weeks of May as we move towards June, which will be a 7 universal month. And then before I open things up for any questions or readings, one thing I did also just want to mention is this 10-day gap run, which is actually going to start tomorrow. So the gap days are galactic activation portal days. And I think there are 50 of them, 50 or 52 of them within the 260-day Tolkien calendar count, the Tolkien dream spell calendar count, which is derived from one of the Mayan calendrical systems. And was brought through by Jose Arguelles and his wife, whose name I can't remember. And the work is being continued and kind of way-showed by Stephanie South. So, yeah, within every 260-day count, there are about 50 of these galactic activation portal days. However, there are 2 10-day runs within every 260-day count. The last 10-day run we had was the 25th of March through to the 3rd of April. It was very interesting because I think the last day of it was when I did this last transmission, the last YouTube live for April. And it was 3 days before I moved to Mullum. Now, what's really interesting is this next 10-day gap run starts tomorrow. It opens fully on the Monday, the 4th of May, and it will run until Wednesday, the 13th of May. And it's going to be happening in the yellow seed wave spell, which is interesting because it's very different because the last one happened in the red serpent wave spell. So the red serpent was very much about shedding and letting go, whereas this yellow seed is about planting seeds. So it's very aligned with the one energies of this one universal year, but also quite aligned with this fire horse year that we're experiencing as well, because the fire horse is about action and yang and initiation and starting things as well. Plus the sun is, I can't remember exactly where it is, but it is either in or approaching Aries. And again, Aries is, from an astrological perspective, like the first zodiac sign. And so these next 10 days, for those of you that want to consciously journey with them, have the potential to be very activational in relation to seed planting. I mean, that's true for this whole year, numerologically speaking, but it's going to be turbocharged in these next 10 days through the lens and filter of the yellow seed wave spell. So the 3 words that are associated with the yellow seed wave spell are flowering, target, and awareness. So it is a great period of time to be getting really, really clear on your focused attention, planting high quality seeds and intentions, and then having trust and patience in the divine timing and the divine flow. So this whole year is an important year, numerologically speaking, for consciously planting seeds that are going to be paving the way for the next 9 years of your life. But I would say, from a metaphysical perspective and a Tolkien dream spell perspective, these next 10 days, everything is going to be turbocharged from a conscious seed planting perspective. As we journey through this yellow seed wave spell, which I think only, like the wave spell started a day or 2 ago, but it's going to be turbocharged given that we are going to be journeying through these next 10 days from Monday, as every day will be turbocharged because it will be a galactic activation portal day. So if you want to know more about the dream spell and Tolkien calendar, you can just go to lawoftime.org. I think it is Law of Time. No. Oh, what is it called? I can't remember what it's called. Maybe it is the Law of Time. But just Google it. You'll find information about it if you're interested. You might not be interested. And in a couple of weeks, there will be a new moon as well. And it will be, I'm not sure what new moon it will be. Hang on, maybe I can tell you. Let me just see. Let me see. It will be the new moon in Taurus, 17th of May. So, you know, the new moons are really powerful times for setting intentions as well. But either way, this whole year is an important year for consciously planting seeds, consciously initiating things, birthing things, whether it's within ourselves or within our reality, that are connected to the new earth and that are moving us in the direction of co-creating heaven on earth. We just got to 1 hour, 11 minutes, 11 seconds, as I said that on this transmission. But yeah, especially use these next 10 days from Monday onwards until the 13th to be really, really conscious about the seeds that you're planting, the things that you're initiating, the conversations that you're having, and ensure that, you know, the action you're taking, the seeds you're planting, the intentions that you're setting, the things that you are initiating for yourself, for your family, for your community, for the planet, are in alignment for you with your values, with your truth, with your authenticity, with your what's the word, sovereignty. I just put an ad out yesterday letting people know that I'm available for part-time work. And I was really, really clear. I was really clear on what I'm looking for. I was really clear on who I am and what my values are and what I represent and what I care about and the kinds of work that I want to do and the kinds of people that I want to work for or with, that, you know, that are conscious entrepreneurs and that, you know, care about the planet and that ideally have organic products or services, or that are ideally vegan, for example. These are all things that I care about. These are all the kinds of people and products and services that I want to energize, that I want to support, that I want to spread the love for. The universe loves specificity. And personally, I feel like this is going to be an important 10 days for me to continue to move in the direction of House of Love related stuff as well, and to continue to kind of do research on and put my feelers out for and make connections with people that might be interested in collaborating with me on this 3D printing hemp dome arm of the House of Love business. So that's everything that I wish and feel to share from a kind of class and a teaching perspective connected to the numbers. I know that there are a few of you watching on the live right now, so I do want to kind of officially open things up for questions. So for those of you that are watching, please feel free to tap into the comments. Let me know if you have any questions, or if there's anything that you just want to share that might have come through to you during the class and the transmission, or if you'd like me to have a look at what your personal month is for May, and what your personal year is. Please feel free to tap into the comments, and I will be more than happy to be of service to you from a numerological perspective. And I'll just give myself as an example whilst we're waiting to see if anyone is tapping anything into the comments. So I'm in a 5 personal year. April was a 9 personal month for me, which again, the combination of the 5 and the 9 is, for me, it's never a good one. There's normally like massive change and lots of letting go. But yeah, we calculate my personal month. We take the 4th month and then we add it to the 5 years. So that gave me the 9. And then May is the 5th month. So I add that to my 5 year. So 5 plus 5 is 10, 1 plus 0 is 1. So this month of May is a 1 personal month in a 5 personal year. And we're in a 6 universal month in a 1 universal year. So yeah. So, I'm even in this kind of like rebirth, like death, birth portal at the moment, numerologically speaking. Lots and lots and lots of change and transformation happening for me. Lots. And I'm even thinking back to kind of where I was and what was happening 9 years ago, because 2017 was the last 1 universal year. So you guys can even think back to, what was happening in your life in May 2017. Like I was actually going back to the UK. Like I was preparing to get on a plane to go back to the UK with my partner at the time. I just had an abortion. Like it was a crazy time, really crazy time, and just the beginning of like a really, really intense dark night of the soul. Whereas this time it's different. Like I'm doubling down on Australia. I'm, wanting to further anchor and land myself here. And, really get my ducks in a row and get things sorted and organized, business wise, financially, visa wise, all the things. So yeah. So it's a bit quiet on the Western Front today in comments, and that's okay. It's probably just, again, reflective of this change that is happening and that I'm definitely experiencing. The last few Facebook lives, not Facebook lives, YouTube lives that I've hosted, people have been pretty present and chatty and all the things, and it's okay, it's fine, because we are all where we're meant to be and we're all having the experiences that we're meant to be having. And maybe this is reflective of the fact that maybe I'm not meant to be showing up here anymore. I don't know. Maybe, who knows? I don't know. I've got no idea what's going on. But all I do know is that I've shown up today and I've shared this transmission and class. I hope it's helpful, interesting, supportive for you in some way, shape, or form. Feel free to share it if it has been interesting and supportive, and all good if not. I do have a 50% off all Cosmic Numerology readings at the moment. It closes tonight, Sunday the 3rd of May at midnight here in Australia, if you want to take advantage of that. If you want to know more about Cosmic Numerology, please feel free to go to my website, cosmicnumerology.com, cosmic with a K. And I think that's that. For those of you that are watching on the live, thanks for watching. Those that are watching on the recording and the replay, thanks also for watching. I hope you have or are having a beautiful morning, day, afternoon, evening, night, wherever you are. And I am sending and beaming you all so much love from Mullumbimby in the Byron Shire of Australia. And as always, to the best of your human abilities, keep your hearts open, keep choosing love, keep being love, keep spreading the love. And I will see you all at some point in space and time. Thanks for watching. Sending you lots of love and blessings. Bye.